Hello, everyone. This is a process note. I'm going to start doing these process note videos. I've been wanting to do them for a long time. The idea comes from as a therapist, a counselor, a facilitator, a coach, you might use process notes as a part of your professional development. Process notes can be a lot of fun. A lot of my peers really enjoy this idea of using process notes. I take a lot of notes on my phone or on my bullet journal. I take notes at events and conferences and things like this so that I can absorb as much information as I can and I have something to share with you. This process note video is called Love is a Ridiculous Masterpiece. And it comes from a book launch event that I attended with Aubrey Marcus and Caitlyn Howe. All poetry comes from Love to the Seventh Power by Aubrey Marcus and Ridiculous Masterpiece by Caitlyn Howe. So, hence the title, Love is a Ridiculous Masterpiece. Now, I attended this event 1 week before my birthday in February. And it was a wonderful event. The whole experience was great. This process note begins for me in San Jose, California, where I live. And the night before, I bought a birthday card. I wrote it down. It was like Mushroom Buddies or something like that. Really cute card. I had like a haiku that was really good about warrior ethos. It was something to remind Aubrey that his tribe is a reflection and a reminder of who he already is all the time. And he has just a beautiful collection of people around him. The mirrors around him are reflecting something really divinely beautiful about Aubrey. Now, Aubrey and I have the same birthday. This is my birthday brother. And he wasn't as excited about this as I was. Like I love birthdays and I love the idea that we have the same birthday. I had a childhood friend that had the same birthday as me, Keely. Shout out Keely. She was my birthday twin, and just like this idea of having birthday twins is really cool. I really love the concept. And so I was excited about this. I got the birthday card. I wrote it out. Aubrey, this birthday card guaranteed. I'm putting it out there. I'm betting that this was one of your top 5 birthday cards you received this year. So out of all of the great gifts that I'm sure that you received from all of your people, maybe you didn't receive a lot of birthday cards. That's kind of what I'm betting on. This birthday card was top 5 birthday cards. I don't know if you even opened it, but I did get him this birthday card and I thought it was really cool. I rented a Tesla the day before. The performance, the experience of driving a Tesla, I just love it. The irritating piece of a Tesla is that when you're driving from San Jose to LA, or I was driving from San Jose to Santa Monica, that's about a 5-hour drive, and I had to charge the car 3 times on the way down. So that is really irritating. I had to wake up 4 a.m. I got up, I had to get on the road by 5 a.m. so that I could make it to this event on time. I had a reservation at a Santa Monica hotel. I got there. I called the night before also to make sure that I could check in before their typical check-in time so that I could get to this event at the start time. And I got to my accommodation. Everything was dealt with, and they worked with me really well. It was beautiful, and I set my stuff down. I got to the event. I walk into the event. I'm wearing this, right? I'm wearing this, and I brought Aubrey's first book, Own the Day, Own Your Life. Optimized practices for waking, working, learning, eating, training, playing, sleeping, and sex. Aubrey Marcus, founder, and he was the CEO of Onnit, a human optimization company. Onnit is how I was initially introduced and inspired by the work of Aubrey. So about 15 years ago, more or less 15 years ago, I purchased this kettlebell from Onnit. And that kettlebell is 1 pood. That's how they're weighed in this Russian weight. Beautiful kettlebell. I wish I had twins. I only bought one, but I really wish I would have two. I always wish that I had two, but I use that for working out all the time. I'm out in front of my house working out with this kettlebell I have over the years. And Aubrey Marcus was a guest on the Joe Rogan Experience when I first was introduced to him, and on it, the human optimization company that he was the founder of. And Joe Rogan became an early investor in this company to help him grow this company. And so that was also the culmination of that relationship, and other things, other relationships in Aubrey's life had created Alpha Brain, this nootropic, and was the cornerstone product for On It. And this was going to be a busy weekend for me. Aubrey now is a part of a company called Correct Life. Correct Life with a K, Korrectlife. Correct Life has a product, has a supplement that it contains a caffeine metabolite. Metabolite is digested in caffeine that keeps you awake but without the crash. So he's using some sort of caffeine metabolite in this supplement, Correct Life. I had a busy weekend. On this event was on Friday. On Saturday, spent some time in LA. I had to do some work. I had to do some preparation. The 12 hours of teaching classes on Sunday. Correct Life, I was at this event, I was able to get a sample of it, and it actually helped me a lot when I was teaching for 12 hours on that Sunday, when I had to wake up early, and all day on Sunday I had to teach after driving, both the directions Friday, Saturday, and it worked out really well. Aubrey also has the Aubrey Marcus podcast, which is phenomenal. A lot of similar guests and content that I would have on my podcast. A lot of transpersonal content. That's why I resonate with the brother. And we're birthday twins. We got the same birthday, brother. So Pisces gang. On the birthday card, it was big Pisces gang energy. I was hyped. I'm pretty enthusiastic. I got a lot of energy going on. You know what I'm saying? So I arrived to the event on time. There was a wonderful group of people, a very festival going crowd, like brimmed hat kind of crowd, like a oh, you've been to Burning Man crowd. When you know the kind of crowd that I'm talking about, these are beautiful people. So I had a wonderful experience engaging with some of the people at the event. There was one gentleman that sat next to me. We had a cool conversation. The very first thing that him and I spoke about was this idea. This man was describing a strange feeling in himself about meeting somebody in person that you're always seeing virtually. And I thought that was an interesting little piece of conversation. It felt to me like he was having a kind of reverse stage fright experience. And I thought that's really interesting. I hadn't thought about it exactly in those terms before, reverse stage fright. So maybe the famous person or whatever, you see them on TV, you see them in music, you see them online, you see them virtually on social media, all these things. And then you finally see them in person, all of a sudden the spotlight has reversed itself onto you. Instead of your spotlight onto them all the time, now the spotlight's on you, and it gives you this, maybe an uncomfortable feeling for some, maybe it sparks something. And the emotional body is energetically a little bit wavy when you observe that, when you experience that reversal of maybe stage fright or something like this. And I thought that was really interesting. I told him that maybe I have worked that out of myself. I think at one time in life, I would have been more prone to a sort of anxiousness as a result of meeting somebody famous. I do feel some of that for sure anytime, but I know what to do with those feelings I feel. I feel like I know what to do with that experience once I observe it happening inside myself. One story that I shared, I was a part of a poetry slam some time ago, and I've shared this story before. The biggest bombing that I could have done at a poetry slam on International Women's Day, the guest poet was a lesbian woman that was 200 plus pounds. Her and her girlfriend drove up with leathers on a hog, on a motorcycle, and and I got heckled off of stage because my first poem was good, but my second poem was kind of joking and funny. I was trying to be funny and sexual, and that was not the time, the place. That wasn't it. But the poetry slam is so serious. I just want to have a good time. So I got heckled and booed off stage, and it was a bombing, right? The host of that poetry slam wouldn't even say goodbye to me. Said goodbye to everybody except for me. I told him about, experiences like that are the learning experiences that we need to. And what are you learning? You're not learning in a logical way. You're learning in a emotional way, a state of consciousness way. It's like, what has happened? What is perturbing my state of consciousness? What is shifting it, and in what direction? And how do I hold to that? How can I hold that more effectively so that I can just be myself? Ultimately, I don't want that to be a limiting aspect of my experience that disallows me from being freely myself. Aubrey is in one of the host chairs, and he's preparing for the event. I didn't want to bombard him. I just sat and I was patient. The whole time I was patient with my getting to him and getting my interaction, my little 2 minutes with him or whatever. I took my time and all of that. But I'm a very engaging person. Like, I engage with the crowd, with the event. Like, if we were in class together, I'm asking questions, I'm interacting. Engagement really important to me. There was a moment where he asked the crowd about, like, who are your heroes? And one of the heroes that I said was James Fadiman. And that seemed kind of odd. That was a little peculiar of an answer of James Fadiman. Definitely a hero for me, one of the founders of my university, Sophia University, formerly the Institute of Transpersonal Psychology, and he's a microdosing expert. I had just met with James Fadiman's co-author, so he was kind of like on my mind. I just had met with him on Thursday. This event was on Friday, so just the day before, it was just fresh on my mind, James Fadiman. I remember hearing somebody in the crowd like, James Fadiman? So it was kind of funny. It was good. I do still think that James Fadiman is a hero, and I did bring that up to Aubrey. But the event goes on. Aubrey sets the tone for the event with you're setting sacred space. So Aubrey begins setting sacred space with some collective ohms, but not forward voice ohms. Instead, the idea, I think, is to experience more of that vibration in your body, in your self, instead of it being so much of a projection outward. So it's not just an om, but it was an om. So it's kind of like in your nasals and in your sinuses, and that is the vibration is affecting your nervous system. It's that kind of oming. And so that was the way that he was setting sacred space. I really liked that. I was digging that. And then it's Aubrey and Caitlyn, and they're sitting in the chairs and they're talking book release of these two poetry books, and they're reciting poems from it and things. Caitlyn, ridiculous masterpiece, so awesome. 3 times, and this buddy that I was speaking to at the beginning of the event, he was my witness. 3 times I opened up the book to the exact poem that Caitlyn was searching for in her book. 3 different occasions that she was about to recite a poem, she's searching for it. I opened the book right to the poem that she was searching for. So that felt really cool, really synchronous moments, and I had a witness for that. So I also got a golden ticket. So think about this. This is your first, for Caitlyn Howe, this was her first publication as a poet. And she had been working on these poems for 10 plus years. They were just a collection of poems. And Aubrey encouraged her to finally publish these. And this is the cover of the book. Beautiful cover, beautiful picture of Caitlyn. And she gets a golden bookmark. This is made by Metalmark. This is 100 milligrams of 24 karat gold. This is Caitlyn's picture of her very first publication book on that, and the name of the book on the back, Ridiculous Masterpiece. That's such a beautiful that's such a beautiful bookmark. I want my first book to be transferred into 24 karat gold. Caitlyn's piece in all of this was really fascinating. It was all about like put yourself out there, your offering, your expression, your poetry, put it out there, get it out there. One of the first lines that I took note of was identify as the one who is willing to love, willing to be in the arena. There's like a short essay about the man in the arena, and that's what this note was referring to. That's what Aubrey was bringing up. So identify as the one that is willing to love, willing to be in the arena. You are vulnerable, you are naked, your emotional body is naked in love. And that is challenging. There is no protection. There is no armor. You can and will likely be hurt. You will be hurt at some stage of that relationship. All of life is relationships. All of life is a culmination of different relationship dynamics. The relationship with your friends, your family, your coworkers, the people around you, strangers, the relationship to yourself. First and foremost, the relationship to yourself, and identify who you get a choice. You get to choose where you identify, who you identify as. You get a choice, your identity. You get to choose to identify with the person that is willing to do the thing, willing to be the thing, willing to be the verb, to enact the verb. And really fascinating. So I open this up to Dragon Mother. That was one of my favorite poems that Caitlyn recited. And I'm going to read you one stanza from there. Decided to land under the sun, on the sand, and become the whole damned planet. Took a mountain range for scales, earned ocean eyes and city teeth. I made a house for you to heal in, a place for you to eat, and rolled my esophagus red carpet out for your parade. Let myself fade back into the scenery that I grow, and I have a front row seat to your new show. And it's this dragonifying of the world, and it was such a beautiful poem. I love this idea that she did not personify, but she dragonified. It was so cool. And then they were talking about, so one also interesting dynamic in all of this is that this is Aubrey Marcus, Caitlyn Howe. It's their both of their book releases, joint book release event. And there's a special offering from Vylana Marcus in sound bathing, sound healing at the end of this event. And it was wonderful also. Aubrey used to be engaged to Caitlyn. That is incredible because Vylana is his wife now. So Aubrey is always so vulnerable and open publicly in all of his experiences. That's why his podcast is so awesome. All of his content is so awesome. That's why people resonate with onit.com, and that's why people will continue to resonate with the companies that he creates and things like this. Just resonating with him as a man. I resonate with all of that. He's my birthday brother, just want to just put that out there one more time. I thought that's so fascinating that you are now working with this person, encouraging her. He talked about calling Caitlyn brave Caitlyn. So brave Caitlyn, she became willing to step into the arena over time. And that's the hero's journey. The hero's journey is that one day we end up being capable, as we are continuing to develop ourselves, to be free of all of our limiting thinking and mindset and all the concepts that obstruct our vision of being able to see ourselves authentically and then expressing ourselves authentically. We are capable of being free. We are capable of being the hero that steps into the arena. That is amazing. And it's very brave. You will be ridiculed. People are going to talk mad shit about you when you start stepping into the arena. That's how the game goes. And have some fun with it. Enjoy it. Whatever. There was another piece of that particular theme. There was another piece where, man, Aubrey is so good. And again, I resonate with this too. Aubrey is so good at flipping the switch and then dialing in and channeling. Like, God use me, channeling, being the conduit, being the faculty, the tool of God in a moment of spirit, in a moment to connect with. There was a man there that asked a question about his own journey in publication. His story was really intriguing, fascinating. This is the kind of thing that he was describing, and Aubrey flipped the switch, locked in with him, and really was there and present with him to channel spirit and give that man only the words that he needed. He was trying to give him only what he needed in that moment. And I thought that was so cool because I observed it happening. This is a GOAT characteristic. This is a characteristic of GOAT status, right? It reminded me of Terrence Crawford. When Terrence Crawford is in the boxing ring, Terrence is the greatest of all time, in my opinion. Period. The greatest of all time, period, in my opinion, because of this particular quality, this particular ability, is that he can flip the switch and be what the arena asks of him, what the competition asks of him, what the fight asks of him. He can make that adjustment in real time, and you can observe that adjustment happen. And that is GOAT status. That's what the greatest fighters do in all of the different combat sports. They're able to make that adjustment from their. You have to be malleable. You have to make adjustments to the plan so that you can still come out with the win, so that you can be victorious. And keep some tricks under your sleeve, things like that. It's like, oh, you still haven't seen everything that I can do in the arena. That kind of thing. It's just so awesome to see, to be able to observe Aubrey flip that switch and lock in, dial in with that man. Aubrey also quoted from the famous play Hamilton. He said, "I'm not going to waste my shot. So this is your opportunity. I'm not going to waste it." Then the other piece of the theme was so that's the ridiculous masterpiece. Brave Caitlyn herself as the ridiculous masterpiece coming out and into the arena. All of this was weaved together. And the second theme was love. So that's Aubrey's book. All poetry comes from love to the seventh power. Again, I had the golden ticket, so I got another amazing bookmark. Again, this is from Metal Mark. This is 100 milligrams of 24 karat gold. This bookmark it says love on it. Come on, baby. It says love in 24 karat gold. This is dope. This is the coolest bookmark ever. Look, I love bookmarks. I collect quite a few awesome bookmarks. Nothing cooler than 24 karat gold. You know what I'm saying? And I bought some other Metal Mark art all in 24 karat gold. It's beautiful. My favorite poem from Aubrey was To Tame the Unicorn. He sets the space by speaking about his relationship, kind of weaving together all of the different dynamics that he has experienced in open relationships, closed relationships. He's had a lot of experiences, varied experiences in relationships. Really admire that. And he's speaking about Vylana. Now, Vylana is his unicorn. Vylana has an attractive, energetic presence in the world. She is a unicorn. I get it. This is Aubrey's unicorn. That is so beautiful. Love that. I'm going to read just a little section of this. But in her heart, she is wild. So the only way to tame the unicorn, to set your inflamed mind at ease, is to become no longer a man, but the grass on which she grazes. Woo-hoo! Damn, that is fire. Become the grass on which she grazes. You meet a unicorn, become the universe that she plays in. Become the universe that she plays in. That whole poem is so great. I don't want to just read their poems. I want you to get these books. All poetry comes from Love to the Seventh Power and Ridiculous Masterpiece. I want you to get those poetry books. If you love poetry, these are great poetry books to add to your collection. To Tame the Unicorn, so great. This poetic idea of becoming the grass on which she grazes. Ooh, that is so fire. I'm so about that. I resonated so strongly with that bar, that little I just resonated so strongly with that. It was so cool. Then there was these relationship codes that they were speaking about. Aubrey described two different frameworks. The one that I liked most was this pre-tragic, tragic, and post-tragic. So the pre-tragic is the falling in love with your partner, falling in love within the relationship. My mind definitely thinks far ahead into marriage and life with this person. I'm thinking about all of those things. I'm romanticizing that kind of thing. You might also be doing the same thing, romanticizing very quickly. That is the pre-tragic stage where you are falling in love. And then there's the tragic stage. The tragic, that is where all relationships end. All relationships end, and this is my interpretation, all relationships end in the tragic stage. It might not end in chaos, but it usually does. Human relationships, the human experience is so wrought with relationships that have unhealthy endings, unhealthy falling apart because of conflict, and in conflict, I hate this person. I never want to speak to them again. Just wishing destruction on this person's life. It's crazy. How emotionally charged we get in this dynamics in these relationships, but it happens quite often. We don't have a lot of experience with the healthy ending of relationships, and that is quite fascinating. Anyway, then there is the post tragic. The way that Aubrey described it was the post tragic is this opportunity to find out that you can infinitely grow in the love that you have in this relationship for this person. You can infinitely grow. It's like, man, I didn't know that I could love this much. The ceiling is now lifted from how much you can love that person. So beautiful, this idea. This experience is so beautiful. Now, the tragic stage, you're often asking, what can this person do for me? Is this person still doing what they were doing in the pre-tragic stage? Are they still doing for me what I had anticipated or desired for them to do for me? You're thinking about for me. And then the post tragic, now you're thinking about us. What can we do together? How can we be whole together? Some of the things that he described in these love codes, it was so awesome. Vylana does her beautiful sound bath healing. Afterwards, I stayed and I wanted to speak to Vylana. I knew that there would be a long line for Aubrey and Caitlyn. And so, again, I'm still staying patient. I'll get my 2 minutes with Aubrey, but for right now, I wanted to just have a conversation with Vylana. Vylana reminded me of Robin from the anime One Piece. One Piece is my favorite anime. It has this awesome pirates narrative, and Robin in One Piece, she is a part of the crew, part of the pirate crew. She's an archaeologist, and she can read this scripture, this ancient language that nobody else can read. And she can read it for the purpose of finding out how to get to the One Piece, the ultimate treasure, what makes the captain of the ship the pirate king. So he becomes the pirate king as a direct result of all of the crewmates, but as a direct result of also Robin's interest in the archaeological language of these stones in the series in One Piece. I wanted to share that with her, that she reminded me of Robin. And there's this moment where Robin is arrested by the world government, and she shouts out to Luffy, "I want to live." Luffy, the main character, the king of the pirates, going to be the king of the pirates, Luffy, without hesitation, tells his sniper, one of his crewmates, tells his crewmate to shoot down the flag, the world government flag, shoot it down. That was a declaration of war against the world government for Robin, for his friend, for a piece of his heart in his crewmates, in his pirate crew, in the Straw Hats. And it's just so awesome. I wanted to share this like short little clip with Vylana, but I'll share that with her. It resonated with her story, her backstory and things. So I thought that was really cool. So afterwards, had that little conversation with Vylana. It was great. She was discussing relationships with a newlywed couple and their experience in the tragic and post tragic stages of their relationship, and it was great, wonderful. Got a picture here with Vylana. Awesome. I went to the line. I'm waiting and I'm engaging with the other people that are a part of this event. Man, there's some beautiful people at this event. And then my buddy who was like with me during the whole event, he was in line with me as well. And I'm waiting. I'm getting ready. So I'm up there. I got my water. This is not a product advertisement, but if you know, you know. And Aubrey knew as well. We had the same water. So is that cool, or I don't know? Is that resonant? I don't even know. And so I have the book. I have both books. I have Aubrey's poetry book. I have the Own the Day book, and I'm ready. I'm wearing this, but I had like a jacket as well. So I go up to him, and the first thing that I talked about was like, "Hey, I said James Fadiman with that hero thing, but it's because I'm a transpersonal psychologist. This is what I do. I go to the school that he co-founded, and that was cool. And then I gave him this birthday card, and he didn't open it right there. And I guess like maybe he thought like, well, my birthday is in a week, so maybe you're giving me this birthday card to hold on for a week while you travel all over. I'm very aware that like, man, it's tough to like hold on to this birthday card while you travel around. Hopefully he did hold on to it and was ready to open it on his birthday. I don't know if he ever opened it. He might have just tossed it. But I gave him the birthday card. It's like, hey, we're birthday brothers. I told him that on Instagram one time. He was on a live, and I told him, hey, we're birthday twins. You want to be on my podcast? And he's like, that's not a reason to be on your podcast. Hopefully you see there's so many other great reasons to be on the podcast together. I think we'd have a great conversation. I took this picture with him. So I should not be putting my arm around somebody that's taller than me, I guess. Like, not a great look for me. I don't know what's going on here, but I need to figure out like a different kind of pose. Like, I need to just be like, I need to be like Travis. I need to be like transpersonal Travis. I need to do some sign language and just hold it there or something like that. Anyway, he signed both books. That was great. And then I talked to Brave Caitlyn, and Brave Caitlyn, she still had a lot of energy. Aubrey felt like he was maybe a little bit tired doing that whole event. And then they had more things to do the very next day and for the next week leading up to his birthday. And so that was pretty much the event. And some of these other notes that I wrote down was, where do you place it? Where I love myself. God is always saying, tell me more in prayer. There were so many codes. Like when I was driving home on Saturday, my mom was going through some stuff, and some of the things that I was inspired by in the event helped me help her. And that was really beautiful. Just trying to text her and make her feel good. It all was a really great event. I drove back and the very next day I used that correct life. I used that caffeine metabolite to keep my energy going, and 12 hours of teaching, I was able to do that, but I got a lot of energy. I could do that, but the correct life definitely helped. And I look forward to our next meeting. Aubrey said that he would be a guest on the podcast after he finishes writing Self versus Anti-Self, a new book that he's been working on. So Self versus Anti-Self, it reminded me of the Symphony of Selves book that James Fadiman and Jordan Gruber co-authored as well. So I love that concept. So I hope that we get an opportunity to do that. On my way out of the event, I met Eric Godsey, and Eric is Caitlyn Howe's fiance, or they're married. Maybe they're already married, or they're fiance. Eric is awesome, like such a great scholar. I reflected to him that he is so good at organizing his content and his information for others, like in his writing and stuff. I can't wait to see more of his publications in the future. Eric Godsey does a great job. I connected with him on transpersonal psychology and scholarship and these kinds of things. So I hope to have him on my podcast too. So I hope you enjoyed this process note. This is the first one, and I look forward to sharing more with you on my process on these events and these beautiful gatherings that I am so blessed to be able to attend. Bye-bye.